What kind of fucking piece of shit is this? Oh my god. Okay. Ready? It's been a long time coming. UFC is finally back. Ladies and gentlemen, from Mexico City, Mexico. Or Mexico. That's how they call it. And we have a beautiful fight going up in the women's strawweight division. Heather Jo Clark versus Alexa Grasso, one of the hottest looking female fighters in the Invicta FC, debuting for UFC for the very first time. Lots of great things to discuss in today's card, and it's been a long time coming. Almost a month if you pay attention to mixed martial arts. Let me quickly update the stream with some basic details. Everything's been real slow and sluggish, man. We're done with 2 rounds for Alexa Grasso versus Heather Jo Clark. And we are about to enter into round 3 of the opening fight for UFC Fight Night Mexico City. Dos Anjos versus Ferguson. Here we go. Round 3 begins with Alexa Grasso leading in my books by 2-0 or at least 1-1, but I will still give her the edge in overall marking in the judges' cards. She looks pretty good in the stand-up exchanges. Also looks pretty solid in... Oh my goodness, Heather Jo Clark running into her. Heather Jo Clark complaining that she cannot see out of the eye when she looks down on the screen. They clinch up near the cage. Cage fighting over under clinch. Heather Jo Clark reversing position. Alexa Grasso reversing it back. Knee to the body by Heather Jo Clark. Very good stand-up by Alexa Grasso till now. Overall, great stuff. Let me see what's happening in the stream. Anyone joining in? Probably not. Still very early. Let me quickly update the thumbnail. Good takedown by Alexa Grasso, but she wants the stand-up exchanges. Heather Jo Clark also getting up. She's bleeding out of her nose. Alexa Grasso looks pretty much spotless, including her hair, which has been combed pretty nicely. She's a little stocky though, in the sense a little short in height, but she makes up for it with her movement and range. Fighting out of the black trunks, Mexico City will have a altitude problem for the fighters, so do remember that, ladies and gentlemen. For some reason, for some stupid reason, UFC.com is not updated with this fight. That is so stupid. Anyways, without worrying too much about it, let me change the thumbnail. Not a lot of action going around in the fight as of now, so might as well update the thumbnail. Thank you for joining in to this particular stream. We're going to break down UFC Fight Night Mexico City live play-by-play and fight analysis. This is MMA Live, your channel for all fight breakdowns of UFC and Rising Fighting Championship. Alexa Grasso versus Heather Jo Clark. Heather Jo Clark picking it up. Nice body kick from Alexa Grasso. Height has been always a problem. Altitude has been always a problem in Mexico City, and these fighters have literally slowed down to a crawl, as they say. Nice leg kick by Alexa Grasso. Her kickboxing and stand-up is on point. Nice straight. Connects for Alexa Grasso. Heather Jo Clark, though, still hanging in there. She's bloodied up, but she's not beaten yet. They have not thrown in the towel. 1 minute, 12, 11, and 10 seconds. If you want to sync up the clocks with ours in round 3. Nice overhead by Heather Jo Clark, answered with a beautiful straight and a leg kick combination by Alexa Grasso. Heather Jo Clark going in for a clinch. Nice uppercut answered by Alexa Grasso. Her punches are crisp, but she would still need some work before she faces Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Definitely. Nice 1-2 by Heather Jo Clark. Heather Jo Clark getting in some combinations, but Alexa Grasso clinches up, tying her up near the cage, trying for a trip takedown, but not working out. Over under, Heather Jo Clark with some punches and bunches, dropping down beautifully for a double leg. Nice combinations by Alexa. She is very fast. Beautiful level change into a double leg, and before she could scramble up, lands 2 or 3 punches. The fight comes to an end, and a beautiful performance by Alexa Grasso in her UFC debut. The crowd is ecstatic. Hopefully you are too. Thank you for joining in. It's been so long. I agree, Samba Kid. I agree. Thank you for joining in, Samba Kid. Do our subscribers even remember that there is a UFC Fight Night going on today? I am not sure. The timing is a little weird, I agree. It's very early in the morning here in my country. And we are at 7:35, 7:45 a.m. Very bright. I kind of changed the look of my room. It looks very bright all around, even though I look very dark and dull because I haven't had any sleep. I was watching these fights in the prelims, and the prelims were actually pretty surprisingly good. A couple of good knockouts and a heel hook by Joe Soto. So let me quickly update all of you guys with what happened today. Overall, it's been a little boring, I agree, for some fights, but the fight opener was Eriki Perez versus Chris Avila, and Chris Avila dropping another decision in UFC. Chris Avila, if you remember, is the teammate of Nate Diaz, and he drops another decision. Overall domination by Eriki Perez. Most probably the altitude could have been the problem, I suspect, in that fight. The second fight in the prelim was Marco Polo Reyes defeating Jason Novelli. Also another dominating performance in the stand-up exchanges for Marco Polo Reyes. Then we had Smiling Sam Alvey surprisingly not knocking out anyone today, but Alex Nicholson was game. And for some reason, I actually felt that Alex Nicholson could have got the nod from the judges But anyways, Sam Alvey gets it done in his fight. Then we went on to Henry Briones versus Douglas Silva DeAndre. Beautiful knockout late in round 3. And Douglas Silva is a guy to look out for. Very stockily built, as you can see. But beautiful KO, TKO by Mr. Douglas Silva de Andrade. Improving him to, I think, 20-1. Then we had Eric Montano versus Max Griffin. I think probably upset of the night from the perspective of Mexico City audience. Max Griffin pulling out the victory. And then we had Marco Beltran versus Joe Soto. Joe Soto pulling out the beautiful heel hook submission. Let's see the decision for Alexa Grasso. And Alexa Grasso gets the unanimous decision and says she likes it. Very nicely done. Good debut for the beautiful and the 4th youngest fighter of UFC, Alexa Grasso. We also had the highlight fight between Eriki Perez and Felipe Arantes. Eriki Perez also pulling out the decision victory. So that is the update on the fights which happened today. Alexa Grasso has improved to 9-0. It's 10:35 in the night in the US. Oh my goodness. We are so far apart, Samba Kid. Roberto Santiago Sanca Prado, Peru campeón. Peru campeón. You have a Peru champion, I guess, probably. Very happy for you people. Let me also quickly put in some descriptions. What the hell? It's not able to create links. Anyways, who gives a fuck anyways? We want to see Alexa Grasso's interview. Very cute girl though. 24 years of age. She does not look like a Mexican, let me tell you, quite frankly. She looks like an American. Black hair, burnt hair and all. A great fighter, great kickboxer overall. Beautiful UFC debut for Alexa Grasso. Improves to 9. And UFC.com is getting fucked. Let me update that to you guys. As you can see, we did not have any fight statistics for Alexa Grasso versus Heather Jo Clark. That was very, very surprising. I still am not able to find it. If you guys can, let me know. And if you guys are wondering what the hell happened to mixed martial arts in the last 1 month, there was nothing going on, ladies and gentlemen, because one event got cancelled. Ricardo Lamas versus BJ Penn, which is supposed to happen last month, could not go ahead because BJ Penn had to pull out of the fight. So we had the replacement for most of these fights, and they got shifted into this particular UFC Fight Night. Next week, though, the greatest card on MMA history, UFC 205, is gonna be happening in New York City, Madison Square Garden, where the notorious Conor McGregor goes up against Eddie Alvarez. Champion versus champion, featherweight champion versus lightweight champion. It's gonna be bonkers. I cannot wait. If I have a chance, I would probably fast forward to New York City already, but we cannot fast forward time, so we have to wait. But do not worry, ladies and gentlemen, I have something very interesting lined up for you guys for next week's Madison Square Garden UFC 205. Man, they're showing the preview for UFC 205, man. It's craziness. Conor McGregor training for UFC 205. Fighting for history. Eddie Alvarez versus Conor McGregor, UFC 205. Next week. Same time, approximately, I feel. It's gonna be crazy. What is up, JD's Hunting and Fishing in Samba Kid? Thank you for joining in. It's been a long time, brothers. It's been a very, very long time. It's been such a long time that I've forgotten how to do the play-by-plays. Actually, let me be honest, I'm doing a very bad job today. My voice is all kinds of messed up. My hair is all grown. I look like shit. And this is just Sunday, man. This is just normal stuff. So anyways, hopefully we'll figure this out by next week because we need to. And we have UFC 205 in the books coming up next week, same time. I also heard that Uriah Faber's retiring, man. I was kind of pissed off. California kid. Great fighter. He says it's his next fight with which is that guy, the UK guy, Brad One Punch Pickett. That's gonna be his last fight apparently. What a legend of the sport. Should probably go into the UFC Hall of Fame for sure, man. The California kid. Too long. Thank you, JD's Hunting and Fishing. Appreciate it. Yeah, I really do hope Conor doesn't gas out, but you know what? When I rewatched UFC 202, I was such a douche. I'll tell you what I did. I actually went and bought the pay-per-view because all these guys were telling that, Conor didn't win the second fight. Rewatch it, guys. Come on. If you can, obviously you can afford it. I'm kind of too psyched into all of these things. And now I think they put up for the free fights also for UFC 205. So just go to youtube.com and rewatch Nate Diaz versus Conor McGregor 2. And I think you would agree with me that Conor clearly won 3 rounds at least, in my opinion, against Nate's 2. Nate had a great second round. I agree, man. But Nate was dropped multiple times by Conor in the second fight. Okay? So in my book, yeah, Conor could have been better. But in that same way, Nate Diaz could have done much better too, man. I'm a great Nate Diaz fan. Don't underestimate that. My whole channel's logo has Nate Diaz in the center of it. I'm not surprised, motherfucker, that pose. So, see, if there was ever a fan for Nate Diaz, I'd be up there. But let's be honest, Nate Diaz did lose the second Conor McGregor fight fair and square. It was a 3-2. In my book, when I did the live play-by-play, I think I did a 4-1 in favor of Conor. I was probably a little biased, but when I rewatched it, I wasted, I think, how many dollars was it? $30 or something? That was some crazy amount, man. I don't know. So when I wasted that much money and rewatched it last month, because nothing was happening in MMA except Bellator, and I was not really up in Bellator, and I'm actually thinking that I'll probably start doing Bellator also from next time. They had a great card last night, man. UFC Bellator 163, I believe. Phil Davis becoming the light heavyweight champion there. Couple of great knockouts, man. Bellator's coming up way quick. You missed JT, you missed this one, man. Alexa Grasso versus what's her name, man? Heather Jo Clark versus Alexa Grasso. Alexa Grasso is a 24-year-old up-and-coming Invicta FC fighter. Great-looking girl. Check her out. Just kidding. Great fighter, man. She won her UFC debut and improves to 9-0. Finally, we have some update on UFC.com. Finally, these idiots have their shit figured out. So we have Rashid Magamedov versus Beneil Dariush, which is about to start. Beneil Dariush is a crazy motherfucker, man. His stand-up is legit as fuck. But I'm actually going with Rashid Magomedov for this one. Agreed with all the comments, Samba Kid. Man, I'm actually really pumped for this fight. I'm actually not even pumped for Lamas versus Oliveira. Let me be quite frank. I really want to see what Rashid Magomedov is capable of, guys. I don't know if you guys have been following him. I've been following this fight for quite some time. There's his brother Ruslan Magomedov, also from Dagestan or Russia side. These guys are up there, man. Khabib, Ruslan, Rashid, all these guys. Rashid has a 12-fight win streak, and he has outlanded his UFC opponents by at least 25 strikes in his last 4 fights. The betting favorite actually is beneil Dariush, but I'm actually going to go with Rashid Magomedov to pull off the upset and probably knock beneil Dariush out, because he has solid power, man. He looks a little lean, I agree, but his Sambo background plus his stand-up, deadly combination. But Daniil's no joke, I agree, why the odd makers are having him as the favorite. But Dariush, I feel, is a little on the downtrend these days. He did pull off a good victory last time when he fought, but beneil Dariush, man, not like the old one. Whew. Thank you all for joining in. I do agree it's some weird timing, man, for today's fight night. A little on the later side, I guess. An hour or two late compared to their usual broadcast. Most of the broadcasts actually end by this time, at least in my country, but they are beginning the second fight of the main card as of now. There's something wrong today, I don't know why, but maybe the comments did not get updated, or maybe the thumbnails didn't get updated, or